Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and this will be a reading wrap up. After a fairly long time, I feel like it's been a while since I've actually sat down in front of a camera and talked about books in one sitting. I've been posting vlogs because I tend to enjoy them and they motivate me to read, but I haven't sat down and made a video because I thought that I hadn't been reading as much. And that's probably because whatever I've been reading has been quite mediocre, some of it verging on bad. So I don't know if all of these books have escaped my memory or I'm deliberately repressing them, but now that I've counted them, we have 8 books that I read over the past 2 months that I haven't talked about in detail in a wrap up, and the completionist in me wants to talk about them in the order that I read them. As always, I have my laptop with me. My trusty Goodreads account will help me because since my memory is not really functional anyway, I'm going to rely heavily on my Goodreads reviews to talk about these books. So now that I'm looking at my Goodreads, I realize I might have more than 8 books to talk about because somehow some of these books I've read and I don't remember mentioning them in any other wrap up. And the first one of these books is the classic that I believe I read somewhere around September, and this is The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. And this is basically about an opera ghost, a person or a ghost or a phantom who is basically using his voice to talk to people at the opera house. Nobody knows what he looks like and nobody knows in which form he exists. And reading this book was just so much fun. It was such an entertaining time. I don't have any critical analysis about it. It was just, it was just a really fun book. This reading experience was similar to my experience reading Frankenstein by Mary Shelley because I thought it would be spooky and creepy and it would just be a horror book, which is something that I don't like. But it was actually very smooth, quite entertaining, very engaging, and parts of it were also very funny, especially with the parts with Madame Giry and her financial transaction with the opera ghost and him giving her money. And I just thought that whole thing was really, it was funny and it was quite entertaining. And according to my Goodreads, I wrote that I found the style easy to absorb, especially with the narrator being present, which is something that was there in the first part of the book. Like when we begin the book, we begin from a narrator being there, telling us about the opera ghost and walking us through his investigation. And we end the book with the Persian, the character called the Persian, who comes and he wraps up the story very nicely. So I really enjoyed this book. I have 2 copies of it. The other one is a Wordsworth classic, which I cannot for the life of me spot in my bookshelf right now. But I got an additional copy because with books I like to keep multiple copies. And if I'm going to reread it, it's definitely going to be this one. And I might even mistakenly believe that this is a French classic. I should really check these things. But I feel like this is my first translated classic that I've picked up this year. So yes, I gave it 4 stars and I really enjoyed it. The next book that I read was called Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan, and I hope that's how you pronounce her name. And this book is called Exciting Times, but reading this book, I did not have an exciting time. It was just one of those books that I can't even tell you how it ended. Like, I don't remember how this book ended. Like, it was just a filler book that I read because I was trying to decide what to read next. And it's basically about this girl called Ava, and she moves to Hong Kong to find happiness, but then she starts living with this, she's not involved in a romantic relationship, but she starts living with this, she has this relationship of convenience with this British man who has a really high paying job, and he's using her for sexual favors, she's using him to live in his apartment. And then we are introduced to a third character who, she supposedly is in love with. So it's kind of like a love triangle situation, which wasn't really great. But there were parts of this book that I liked because the main character was Irish and she works as a teacher in Hong Kong. And I really enjoyed her commentary on language, like the English language, the way the Irish people speak it and the way the British people speak it. There was some very interesting wordplay, but that was it. Like, that was what I found interesting about the book. The rest of it, I don't even know how it ended. So yeah, for this book, I think I gave it around 2.5, 3 stars because like none of it stuck with me except for the title and maybe some clever things thrown around here and there. But yeah, it was pretty unimpressionable, if I can say that. The next book that I read was a poetry collection. It's called If They Come For Us by Fatima Asghar. And this is a contemporary poetry collection by a Pakistani poet, not an author. And I did not rate this book, firstly, because I feel like I don't get along with poetry, especially if it's contemporary poetry. But the cover was gorgeous. I was fully absorbed by the cover. I was like, okay, this is really nice. I want to see what this book is about. And when I read it, I just, I couldn't relate to half of the poems in the book. There were some very, very interesting things about the partition of India and Pakistan, and those are the poems that kind of stuck out to me. But the rest of it, I just I don't know what to say about them because I feel like it's not fair for me to comment on poetry. Overall, it was a good experience. The book was very short. I enjoyed some of the poems, but not the others. And the next book that I read was called To Lahore with Love by Hina Belitz. And Hina Belitz, I feel like, is a Pakistani author whose first name is Pakistani, but her second name is completely Western. So I have no idea where where she lies on the identity spectrum. But the book is basically set in the city of Lahore in Pakistan. This British Pakistani family, like a British Asian family, where the father was Pakistani, the mom was British, and we're growing up with the daughter whose name is Addie. We are basically witnessing the story through her eyes, and she was basically abandoned by her father, and then we later found out that he died. Not a spoiler, it's there. And then she breaks up with her fiance, and her grandmother, her paternal grandmother who lives with her, brings her to Pakistan to sort of rediscover her life. And she has a very strong bond with her grandmother through cooking. And usually a book like this takes me about 3 to 4 days to finish because it was 250 pages, but this book dragged on and on and on. I was very excited when I started reading it, but as the book went on, it just lost a lot of steam and a couple of stars along the way. I have no idea who the target audience for this book was, whether it's like a Pakistani like me sitting in Pakistan reading about my country, or if it's for a Western audience, because usually with the themes they pick you can kind of tell who it's targeted towards. But with this book, I'm not sure who it's for. The author clearly does not write for a Pakistani audience because she uses words like dupatta, scarf, which could just be either dupatta or it could be scarf. It's redundant to call it dupatta, scarf. And it's the same thing with naan bread, either it's naan or it's bread. If you say naan bread, then it's definitely for audience that's not Pakistani. I really like the relationship between the grandmother and the granddaughter, and those brief moments where spirituality is mentioned. It was funny in parts, but the book is not as strong as it could be. And this is just me reading off Goodreads, in case you couldn't tell. But my whole issue with this book was also because the author used Urdu phrases, and Urdu is the national language of Pakistan, right? And if you're using Urdu phrases, you're clearly familiar with the language. But the Urdu in this was so incorrect. You know how certain words have certain things. For example, if there's an Urdu word called khat, which means letter, the plural of that would be khatut, because the word changes entirely. The author was not even clear on the basic differences between singular and plurals in Urdu, and as a Pakistani reader, that was for me quite annoying to read. The other thing was that in Pakistani families or in South Asian families, I think this is also common in India, you have specific names that you use for your grandparents. So your mother's parents are always Nana, Nani, and your father's parents are Dada, Dadi. So she is growing up with her paternal grandmother, who is essentially her Dadi, and she refers to her as Nana, like Nana. So when I started reading this book, I had this impression that maybe she was talking about her maternal grandfather, but that makes no sense. And then I realized that this was just what most Westerners would probably call their grandmother, which would be Nana or Nan, but then again you're spelling it with one N in the middle, not two. So I feel like little things like that usually throw me off, and I don't like it when they don't line up. So I gave this book 2.5 stars. It wasn't as strong as it could have been. The next book that I read was the autobiography of Malcolm X, as told by Malcolm X with the assistance of Alex Haley. This is a non-fiction book. This was a part of a buddy read organized by Cousin from Ever Always Doing, and I read it with a bunch of really, really fun, interesting booktubers, and we had so many discussions around this book. But as a non-fiction, this is not the best autobiography that I've ever read. I can't deny the fact that Malcolm X is an iconic figure in American history, and he played a pivotal role in focusing on the importance of the black people in the United States by telling them that they're not any less, or they shouldn't have the same rights as their white counterparts. And he was part of the Nation of Islam, and some of his speeches are the most dynamic speeches that I've ever heard, because with books like this you do tend to go into rabbit holes, and I watched a lot of his speeches, and this book basically starts from his childhood into his life of crime, then his induction into the Nation of Islam, and finally breaking away from the Nation of Islam and establishing himself. He was unfortunately assassinated at the age of 40. So we know that his life was cut short. But the thing with this book was that it was so dreary in parts, in the sense that it kept going on and on and on. And it kept going on and on and on about the irrelevant things. Like, I couldn't wait for the political part of the book to start, but we were majorly fixating on his life of crime, and that, like, I wanted that part to be over. And the other thing that I really disliked about this book was Malcolm X's views on women. And I feel like had he lived, he might have, changed those views, or he might have evolved. But they read very, very misogynistic, because he was fetishizing white women. He was saying things like the way a woman dresses basically determines the morality of a country. He thought his wife was only halfway as good as him, or halfway intelligent, even though she was more educated than him. And just things like that. Like, the misogyny in this book really stuck out, and that's why I gave it 3.5 stars. But the reading experience was a total 5 out of 5, because I just really liked talking about this book to other people, and we discussed everything under the sun. The next book that I read was called Daddy's Boy by Shandana Minhas, and this book came recommended, very highly recommended, by Bookbaht, Bakhtavar from Bookbaht. And Bakhtavar and I are friends. We agree on a lot of things, and we talk a lot, but we feel very differently about this book. So this book is basically about a man called Asfandyar, and Asfandyar has lost his long lost father, like his estranged father. He finds out that he's dead, and now his mother asks him to go meet his friends in another city in case like he has left anything in his inheritance for him. So he basically goes to another city to meet these three uncles, like his dad's friends, and just to hang out with them and see what his father was like, who he was as a person, if there's anything that his father has left for him. And when I read that, I thought that setup was really, really strong, because it's going to be a book about like these three crazy uncles who are very entertaining, and they were for the most part. But this book also lost a lot of steam along the way, because like the uncles were there to play a part, and then from there we move on to a very cliched story. So about this book, I said that I really enjoyed reading it, because Shandana Minhas has an amazing expression. I love the humor in this book, and her writing style is quite engaging, which is why I finished the book. But the story in itself was quite strange. I wish the three uncles had more of a role to play than they had, and it seemed that the book had a lot of build up with almost no payoff. There was no character development, and the book just like ended really quickly. And the character development, for me, it needed to be explored more. I hated the ending, and yeah, that's how I basically felt about it. So I feel like I enjoyed reading it because it was just well written and the author had a great expression. The story in itself, I was just not happy with, because I was like, I just don't like how cliched it became like towards the end. And it almost felt like I was reading two different books. Like, the first half was a different book, which was entertaining and funny, and it was the three uncles being very lewd about this like one person, their friend's son, that they've never seen, and the rest of the book was just weird. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't really like it as much as I was hoping, but worry not, Bakhtavar and I are still friends. We actually met I want to say a couple of months ago, but it might have been 2 weeks ago. I have no idea how time works anymore. The next book that I read is also a Pakistani book. It's called Beautiful from This Angle by Maha Khan Phillips, and this is basically a book about the drugs and party culture of Pakistan, which has been explored enough. But I really enjoyed reading this particular book because the characters had a lot of depth. I did not mind the fact that the characters were engaging in drinking, and they were like, sleeping around and doing all of that stuff, which is generally explored in a Pakistani book. But they were doing things beyond that. That just wasn't their life, because they had jobs, they had family pressures, they had characteristics. All of the three characters who were women came from completely different background. One of them came from a feudal family, so her father was part of the feudal system, so he had a lot of farms and lands, and that's where their money came from. That character was fairly conservative. The other character's father was basically someone who made his fortune through drugs, like through narcotics. That was really interesting. And the third character, she just came from like old money. Her family was generally rich because of their businesses. And I just thought that was really an interesting way to set the three characters apart, because they're doing similar things and they have like a similar lifestyle, but their backgrounds are so different. And I have no idea how this author missed my radar, because I hadn't heard about her, and now I'm like a quarter of the way into her other book, which I'm also really liking. So I'm very excited that I've discovered her, because in this particular book, she talks about capitalizing on tragedy to make a fortune, to make a name for yourself, to use victims for your personal benefit, to use terrorism as a plot, not only to gain sympathies from the West, but also like to make your way further in the world, like what it would do for you. And I feel like the author hit the nail on the head. Like, she's using All of this in a way which shows us how problematic exploring these issues are, in a way which is like, oh, look at Pakistan, it's a terrorist country. Like, she's doing that, but she's also looking at the motives of the people who are behind such narratives, and I just thought that was a really interesting take on it. So yeah, I gave this book 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. We're almost at the end. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. It took me 2 months to finish this book. I started this in the first week of October. I finished it around 24th November, not very long ago. And I honestly don't have much to say about Jane Eyre because it's a classic. Because anything that I have to say has already been said by someone else. But I really like Jane as a character. I thought she was very smart, she was very strong, she was very independent. And I'm just going to say that all the men in this book, all the men in this book are basically red flags. I don't understand the fascination with Mr. Rochester because to me he seems like a creepy old man who has chained his first wife in the basement or in the attic or whatever it is, and he is hitting on Jane and he is trying to marry her because he just wants to marry someone younger, because he just doesn't want to be burdened with his first wife who is supposedly crazy. So I thought that was pretty problematic. I don't understand the love for Mr. Rochester, but you know, you do you, and I'll just stick to the fact that Mr. Rochester just rubs me off the wrong way. I was not a fan of the other character, which I think was St. John Rivers, and he was just using her because he didn't love her, but he wanted to marry her for other reasons. And Jane was a strong character who came to her own conclusions and did what she wanted to. And I really appreciated the book for what it was. I think for the time that it was written in, Jane is a pretty independent character who thinks for herself, who's smart, and she's humble. And yeah, I think that's why the book is called Jane Eyre, because the book is about her. And that's why I enjoyed it. But oh man, every time I was reading this book, I was like, all these men are just like major red flags. And the last book, because we've reached the end and I feel like my voice is about to give out, is called Indelicacy by Amina Kane. And this was a very strange book. It's basically about this woman who works at a museum and as a cleaner, and she wants to become a writer, and then she marries someone so that, you know, she can have a comfortable life. And that's all I can tell you about this, because I enjoyed the writing style initially because it was distant, it was weird, it gave you that faraway feeling that you don't really know what time period this is or like where the book is even set, because all of that is kept deliberately vague. But slowly and surely I got really tired of the repetitive writing style. It just wasn't fun anymore. We were inside this character's head, which wasn't a great place to be. And maybe like the artsiness or the creativity of this book is lost on me because I feel like I'm not the target audience. So while I was reading, I was just thinking that I just don't get it. So I gave this book 2 stars and that was it. So that's my wrap up for this time around. I talked a lot and this video will be very long. So when I get back to editing, I'll really see what I can cut out and what is redundant. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys soon. I hope you have a great day. Bye.